Page 46. Show me how to go home. There's a note at the top about what composers do and don't do and all that kind of stuff. You can read that and be confused. If you have any questions on it, let me know. Okay. I'll talk about the piece a little bit. It is in cut time, so a quarter note gets half a count. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So it's going to go a pretty good clip. I'm going to put the metronome on 50 because it's beating half notes. So it would go 1 and 2 and 1 and. Those are quarter notes. What's going on? Second line, last two measures. See the repeat signs? There's a backward repeat sign, a reverse repeat sign, and a regular repeat sign. That means you're going to repeat those two measures. Yeah, just those two measures. I bit my tongue. I hate it when I do that. The first time you play it, you're going to play it medium loud, those two measures, right? Because it's got a 1 MF. The second time you play it, you're going to play it soft. I'm going to play it about the same both times for the video, so you do that. Bring out the melody wherever it is, because it's going to go back and forth between the hands. Okay? You have a sforzando, the last measure of the third line. That's that bang thing. Give it a oomph. It's not staccato, it's just a bang. Now, they also put an accent on it. I frankly disagree with that because that's an overkill. It's redundant. If you give it a sforzando, that is already accent. A sforzando is actually louder than an accent. So you don't do an accented sforzando. You just do a sforzando. Hands at the beginning move, well, in this piece the hands move around a little bit. So let's talk about that. I'm going to start with the right hand. You're starting with your little finger on A. So you're in that position, right? Then when you get to those two repeated measures in the second line, you go into C, because you want third finger on E. You just go down one note. That's fine. Then in the third line, you got to go back to put your little finger on A again. This is a D position, by the way, because D is the bottom note. And then in the fourth line, you got to put your middle finger on middle C. See that? Way down there. It's an A position because A is bottom note. Then on page 47, on the first one, you got to go all the way back up and put your little finger on A again. But you got one beat rest to do, actually a half a beat rest because we're in cut time. You got 1/4 rest there to do that in. And the page 47 is almost like page 46 because you got those two measures that are repeated. You can do that. I don't have to explain it all. Then on the third line, it doesn't tell you this. Well, it does, because in those two repeated measures, you're in the C position. But you're already in position. The only difference is on the third line and the second measure, you have an E flat. So it's... And that LH, that's the left hand. That's where the left hand's got to go over. I'll talk about the left hand in a minute. Let's get the right hand first. Now in the last line in the right hand, you don't have an E flat. Okay, it's not a flat. It's just the third line that was flat. Now let's do the left hand now and I'll come back to stuff. Left hand, thumb is on the A, so you're in D position. Well, both hands are there. Isn't that nice? That's handy. Then when you get to the repeated measures on the second line, you're going down to C. That's fine. And then on the third line, you got to go down, put your little finger on the A here. Get those. Two ways of doing this. Keep it simple, I guess. Is you're going to finger this in a way where you're going to put your thumb on the E flat. To do that, because the thumb is a short finger, you got to move your hand up into the black note area, up near the fall board, to reach it. But you don't stay there. You're only long enough to hit that. If I were playing this myself, I would not finger it that way. I would cross over and put either the index or the middle finger on that and play it that way. That's the way because that way the thumb doesn't have to play that black note. But you're learning, and it doesn't hurt you to go up and get accustomed to doing this. You do have to go up into the black note area occasionally. And if that had confused you, forget I said anything on that. Just put your hand in that position and you're ready to go. We talked about the sforzando. We'll just play them. It's not staccato though, it's a full quarter note, which is a half a count because we're in cut time. Fourth line is about the same as the third line, except you got chords there in the last, and you got to move your hand for the chords because we're using the little finger and the thumb on those chords, all three of them. So you're here. These are the last two measures on page 46. It's here, here, go down, and then go back up. Just for kicks and giggles, I'll confuse you a little bit more. That dotted half note at the end of the page, page 46, gets 1.5 counts. And what? Well, a dotted half note would normally get 3 counts in 4/4 time, but in cut time, everything's cut in half. So instead of 3 counts, it gets 1.5 counts. Isn't that life wonderful? Yeah. Now, on page 47 is pretty much the same as page 46 until you get to the third line down. You're in C position already because those 2 repeated measures, you're in C position. Now you have that E flat. And in the second measure, you got to cross over to play the high C. So it's make them rhythmically even, all right? Don't jag it or and then you've got the 1, 5, 7 chords again, except now we're using the minor. We have an E flat. That would be the C minor primary chords, except for the 4 chords. We haven't got the 4 chords yet. Then in the last measure, same thing, except it's a major. It's an E natural. So it's C major again, okay? Then in the last measure, you're here, you gotta move the left hand down and play the C. Different method books, when they do show this sort of thing, will actually indicate different fingers. I don't care which finger you use. Some say use third finger. Some say some other finger. I use little finger because I don't have to move the hand as far. Lazy. I don't want to move the hand anymore, and I have to. For the pedal, on the first 2 measures of the third and fourth lines on page 47, you're going to push the pedal down right after you play the first note, and you're going to lift it up right before you play the first notes in the third measure. We want a little bit of silence between the second and third measures because they're different phrases, believe it or not. The first 2 measures is marked with a slur. It kind of indicates a phrase too. The second 2 measures are not marked with any slur or anything. Take my word for it, it's a phrase. And I can say that because I'm looking at the words. And generally, if they don't mark the phrasing, you follow the sentence structure in the words, and that's your phrases. So to demonstrate that, those 2 measures, this is the third line on page 47, first 2 measures, and going on into the third measure, hands are, you're going to use a C minor chord or an E flat in there. It's got this. Next line. Last line, between the second and third measure, there is a little apostrophe sign, or a comma if you want to call it a comma, okay? In music, this is called a break or a breath mark. Now what the break does, and there are other symbols for pauses and holds and whatnot, okay? Right now we're just talking about this. This is a small break. There are bigger ones. But it will screw up the rhythm just a little bit because you're kind of hesitating on the beat before you go on. So it would be like a 1, this is in cut time, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, like that. You're hesitating before you go on. So we have silence. That break is silent. You be quiet. It's like a rest. When I'm playing with a metronome, I cut the previous note short, so I still get some silence, but I don't screw up the beat. So with a metronome, it would be like this. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. As long as I get the silence. In the last measure, I'm going to push the pedal down right after I play the notes. Hold it down. This way the sound continues when I go move my left hand down to get the C. And then at the end of the fourth beat, the hands and the pedal all come up together. There is an RAT there at the end, a rit to slow down. I don't do that when I'm with a metronome. You can do that on your own. Let's try this together and see what happens. You're going to start out with the right hand here, left hand here, and the foot's on the pedal so you're ready for it when it happens. I'll give you 4 counts. This isn't cut time, right? Now I sped the metronome up to beat quarter notes, all right? Because if I put it on 40, that's too slow to deal with. So we'll just put it on 80 and let it beat quarter notes. So it's beating half beats here. 1 and 2 and type thing because of the cut time thing. So I'm going to give you 1 and 2 and ready and go and then we are off and running. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. Rest. 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 2, 3, repeat. 2, 3, go on. Rest. 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 2, 3, repeat. 2, 3, rest. 2, rest. Now to give you a little bit of an idea, I won't play the whole thing. To give you an idea of what I think it should sound like, is something, you may find recordings of this, I don't know. But it's something I would do it like this, I think.